Please welcome my dear friends Joe Bill and Jill Bernard!
That's right.
Chicago, Illinois, Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're so happy to be here. It's been such a fun time thus far.
Yes, it has.
Should we get a suggestion?
Let's do it. You do it.
Could we have a suggestion? Oh, these stairs. Could we have a suggestion of a, oh, thank you. Oh, God. Oh, God. Could we have a suggestion of a word that is pleasing to say? What do you say? That is pleasing to say. Bubbles.
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 Bubbles is pleasing to say. I thought that was a Greek word. Is there a Greek word, babouche?
How do you say bubbles in Greek?
Fushka.
Fushka.
It's impossible.
Fushka.
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 Fushka, bubbles and fushka.
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 Ja, very stol. Fushka.
Fushka.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Listen, you're my quarterback. If you're not out there playing football, nobody is. You gotta get out there in that field.
Oh, goddamn, that's good. Oh, that is good. Seriously, you made this from scratch?
What are you fushking around for, huh?
From scratch you made this.
We're winners.
Something came in a can.
Okay? No.
Something in here came in a can.
We are winners. This team is made up of winners. And if you're not a winner out on the football field, you're not a winner.
It's like a soup that tastes like chili, but it's not chili. It's soup.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, is that your excuse? Well, boo-hoo-hoo! My dad's dead, too. Huh? You think we don't all have dead dads? You think like 50% of this team? Listen, we work in a coal mining town, kid. Most of their dads are dead. Boo-hoo!
Yeah, I'll take a bowl of this. You'll have a bowl of this.
You know
with
what
me?
I did?
You gonna have a bowl of this?
I took my father's death and I turned it into football excellence. The day of my father's funeral, you know where I was? At Nickelback. Nah, not the band, you stupid jerk. What's the point of you, huh?
Yeah, I'll just stand here at the counter with you. Thank you so much for making this for me.
What's the point of you? What's the point of you?
What are you asking?
You're supposed to throw the ball, okay?
Look, I'm just depressed. Look, I mean, he only died like 4 months ago.
So what?
I can't get in the game, coach. I can't get in the game.
4 months ago. Well, let me tell you something. It's not getting any better. You're gonna miss your father every fucking day. It never heals. It's a wound that stays open, and you gotta use that wound for football.
I was trying to heal the wound by listening to the band Nickelback. There's not a better song in the world than Nickelback's Rockstar. That's one of the greatest songs ever written, and it makes me feel like a rock star.
Of course it is. Of course it's the greatest song ever written. But why isn't that feeling translating onto the field?
Because something's not behind the fastball. I can't throw anymore. Why can't you cut me? Are you trying to make me tough or something?
Yeah, I need a tough quarterback. I want to be, when they come to sack you, I don't want you to just lay down on the field. That was depressing. The other team came running to sack you, and you laid down on a football field and cried.
When you moved me to quarterback, you said it was because I had smarts.
And I thought you did.
Yeah, and I was intellectual, and like you liked my brains.
I like your brains.
Look, smart people are smart enough to stay on the ground when they get hit, and they know they're going to get hit again. That's what happened to me. I hate to let you down, Coach, but I don't know if I'm cut out for this.
Say that again. Smart people.
Smart people are smart enough to stay on the ground when they get hit, and they know they're going to get hit again. I was going to get hit again and again. I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I don't want to let you down. And I say that because those words have no meaning to me personally, but usually when I say that, then the authority figure goes, oh, okay, you're not going to let me down. And then we're both off the hook.
Why have I been getting up, Cody? Why have I been getting up all my life? Why didn't I ever stay down? You know how many times they fired me from this high school? Every time I petitioned, every time I threatened the city council people with blackmail, every time I got this job back. But why didn't I stay down, Cody?
Maybe because you just can't move on. Maybe because you see something in kids that they can't see in themselves. Maybe because you have so many dreams in your head that you got to give them to other people who got no dreams. I got no dreams because my dad's dead.
Hey there. You're a rock star. Get your game on. Go play, except that the season's over.
That is a completely different band.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know what the secret of the seasoning is on this, but if there is any way I could convince you to give me the recipe for this soup, then I would certainly be open to anything in the world I could do for you to get the recipe for this soup.
The recipe for this soup
Yes.
is all that you want? And then you will do anything I ask?
Yes, of course. It's soup, but it tastes like chili. It tastes like chili, but it's not chili at all. It's soup.
How much will you do? What is the duration of the contract that you and I are forming?
I mean, it's a simple transaction. You would give me the recipe for the soup. I would give you like, $100 or
$100?
or my soul. I don't know.
Or your soul. Do you know that antique store on First?
Bob's Antiques?
Bob's Antiques.
Everybody knows Bob and his antiques.
You do know Bob.
Of course. What do you want me to do to
How
Bob?
do you feel about Bob?
He's an old man who runs an antique store. He, when I was a kid, he'd give me a piece of candy when I walked in. He has a twinkle in his eye like something magical, but he's just an ordinary guy.
Could you take that twinkle out?
You want me to take the twinkle out of Bob's eye?
And
Are you talking about murder?
what? I didn't say murder. You did.
Oh. What if I could get the twinkle out of his eye without murdering him?
That would be excellent. Twinkle removal of your own choice.
Oh God, I gotta have the recipe for this soup! All right, I'll do it. I take the twinkle out of his eye, And you give me the recipe for the soup.
I want photographic evidence.
Then it's gone?
I want a picture of Bob's face in which no joy remains. Is it a dead face? I don't know. It's up to you.
I'll do it! I will do it!
If you bring me his face, you may have the recipe for this cornbread.
The cornbread too? Hold on, back up. If I bring you his face?
Bring me his face.
I think we went to another level. You want a picture of his face without the twinkle in the eye, with the joy gone. And that's for the soup. But additionally, if I bring you the face, you're going to throw in the cornbread?
You haven't tried this cornbread yet. Especially not dipped into the soup.
Cornbread I've ever had in my life! I suppose you're not going to give me the recipe first. I will do it. But how do I know you're going to keep your end of the bargain?
I'll give you some collateral. You may have half the recipe first.
These are all common ingredients. There's no way I could extrapolate the rest of the magical ingredients for this soup from simply these ingredients: tomato stock, celery, potatoes, carrots, beans red, beans black. Of course! You are evil. But I'm going to do it.
Bring me Bob's face!
Yes!
Ding dong, ding dong. Ding dong, 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 ding dong.
Please come in.
Thank you so much.
Please.
I was worried you weren't here.
I was here.
Oh my goodness, look at this lounge.
Oh, the kettle's on.
Yes,
How was the trip?
Oh, well, it was quite uneventful. Otherwise, I'd tell you more. Yes, I'd love some.
Here you are.
What happened there? That's not like you.
Saucer.
Of course. That's better, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
It isn't like me to forget the saucer.
It isn't. Are you all right?
I thought I was.
How's...
But then I forgot the saucer.
Oh,
And before you came,
but you...
I brought a brown chair.
But this chair is black.
Yes, I switched it.
Well, that's a good sign.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh.
It makes things...
Oh!
Oh, God, what happened? What the fuck happened? What's going on in this world? Damn you, God! I am so sorry.
You said the trip was uneventful, but you're quite on edge.
I rang your doorbell a number of times.
I know.
First, I rang it once.
Yes.
And then I rang it twice. And then I rang it a number of times. And then I checked the picture, and only half of your address was on the picture. I looked up, half of the address was there. And then I was confused and thought, maybe I'm at the wrong place, though I've been here many times before. And then I walked away. And then something told me, no. You go back there and try again. And so I did. And that's when I rang the doorbell and you answered the door. I walked into here. And then you asked me, how was your journey? And I said, uneventful. That's why I wouldn't tell you more. That's what I said. And then I sat down. And then you said, the kettle is whistling. And you walked over there to get some tea. And you brought 2 cups of tea, but with no saucers. At this point, I was somewhat concerned, but you corrected your mistake right away and went and got the saucers. I said, that's kind of unlike you. And you put the saucers down and then put the tea down and said, yes, that is quite unlike me. And then from that point, I kind of forget what happened.
Biscuits. Marguerite, I've burnt the biscuits. I've burnt them.
Dolores, you never burned the biscuits.
I've never.
But you've burned the biscuits today.
They're burnt.
Dolores?
Not just crispy. Marguerite, they're past crispy. These biscuits are burned.
Those biscuits are burnt, Dolores.
They are burnt, burnt.
Well, you can't serve burnt biscuits.
No.
And I won't pretend to like them.
Nor should you. Nor should you.
I suppose if I was a friend, I would lie and say I enjoyed them.
No, you mustn't lie.
Of course I must
Not
lie.
about biscuits. Not about biscuits!
Never lie about biscuits! What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is with the burnt biscuits? What's going on with the burnt? Damn you, God! I remember now. You kicked a chair. I think it was inadvertently.
Could it be a kick if it is inadvertent?
I don't know. I remember the chair moving. It made a noise as if a foot hit it. And then I blacked out or something happened. I don't quite know.
You began to scream.
Did I?
You did.
Oh, how rude of me. I am so sorry.
This biscuit tray is burning my fingers quite badly. I want to put them down, but if I put them down, I would be serving them to you.
Oh, Dolores, you cannot serve me burnt biscuits.
I would never do so.
I would never accept you serving me burnt biscuits.
You are my oldest and dearest friend, so recently widowed.
Oh, Dolores. I mean, I suppose I could lie and tell you.
You mustn't lie.
I mustn't lie.
You
You never lie about burnt biscuits! What is going on? Your burnt biscuits! What have you done? What have you done? Dolores, are you crying?
I have some biscuits in a tin, like I would give to an animal. Like I would give to a tax collector. I have biscuits in a tin like I would give to an unexpected book club. Not to my oldest and dearest friend, so recently widowed.
Of course, surely you are not intending to serve those. I am not a tax collector.
But I brought them.
But I am recently widowed.
You're so recently widowed.
Yes. I mean, I suppose I could lie and say he's still alive.
Never lie about
I would never lie about a dead spouse. No, that would be wrong.
You would lie and say he's alive.
If it would please you, but then it wouldn't please me. Here's what I'm happy about. The chair's back in its place.
Yes.
The problem is, my tea seems to have run out. Oh, the biscuits are on the ground! Oh no, they've crackled everywhere! The pedestrian biscuits are all over the floor! There's little shards of biscuits! The one would turn to an animal in a cage! And now they're spread all over the floor of your lovely, neatly, perfectly kept parlor! And they're everywhere! Like a metaphor for the shattering of the universe! Damn you, God! Fuck you, God! Why?
I'm making it worse. I'm so dizzy. I'm fetching more water for your tea.
Thank you so much.
So dizzy.
Dolores,
What is it?
you seem dizzy.
I am.
Well, I hope you don't hurt yourself,
I hope so too.
but I can't sit here with an empty cup that doesn't have tea in it.
No, you can't. You cannot.
What a quandary we have found ourselves in.
I'm here by the kettle, but I didn't bring your cup.
Things seem strangely off today. What's going on? Dolores! There's biscuits on your floor! They're shattered pedestrian biscuits! Not the grand biscuits you would make by hand, but biscuits you would give to an animal, or a taxpayer, or anything with taxes, what is going on?
You don't remember, Marguerite, when I dropped the biscuit tin? Have you forgotten moments ago when I dropped the biscuit tin and then I ran in circles until I was dizzy?
I hope you're not playing tricks on me.
What? Why? I hope you're not playing tricks on me. One of us is playing tricks.
Here's what I remember. I came up to your door. address in my hands, and I rang the doorbell. There was no answer. And then I rang the doorbell twice, and there was still no answer. And then I rang the doorbell many times, and yet again, there was no answer. And I thought to myself, I hope I have the right place. Even though I've been here many times before, Dolores. But in that moment, I doubted myself. I turned around and I walked back down the street. And then I thought, no, I'm going to stick with it and try again. And I came back to the door and I rang the doorbell. And that's when you answered the door. And you invited me into your house. And you said to me, how was your journey? And I said, it was uneventful, or I would tell you more details. And that's when I sat down. And that's all I seem to remember.
That's all you remember.
Dolores, are you all right?
I'm quite dizzy.
It seems like you're dizzy.
I've brought your tea.
Oh, thank goodness.
There's no tea bag. I haven't brought you tea.
You've brought me water. Dolores, are you all right? Are you all right? Oh, now I remember. I came here because we had a conversation and I was quite worried about you. And I thought, I've not paid Dolores a visit in quite some time. I should go see if she's all right. And I steeled myself for a journey, and I came here in a quite unremarkable fashion. Otherwise, I would give you more details. I arrived at your door, and I pushed the doorbell once, and there was no answer. Can you believe that? You were here, yet there was no answer. And then I rang it twice, and there was still no answer. And so, as one does, I pushed it many times, like a common fool standing at an elevator that they knew wasn't going to come because the number said, but I kept pushing it. And in the heat of all that frustration, I thought to myself, I must be mistaken. And I looked at the paper that has half of your address on, and I turned and I walked away. Can you imagine that? I gave up. I flat out gave up. I mean, what type of woman just gives up after a few rings of a doorbell and no answer? No, that's not me, I say. No, I will not give up. And I turned back around and I came and I rang your doorbell, and guess what? You opened the door. And then I walked in. Do you remember what happened next?
I loved him, you know. I loved him, your husband.
And he loved you. We both know it.
I loved him.
Yes.
But no one sent me flowers. No one sent me sympathy cards. I loved him. You're the wrong person to tell this to, Marguerite, but Marguerite, you're the wrong person to tell this to, but I have no one else to tell. I loved him.
And he loved you.
With the whole of myself, I loved him.
Many times we would lie awake in bed at night, and he would speak of his love for you.
Well, that was thoughtless.
He would put his hands on my body as he spoke of his love for you.
Oh.
And I was quite happy for it. Yes. Had he not had thoughts in his head of you, he would have never touched me. But because he had thoughts of you in his head, Dolores, he would touch me. He would touch me in passionate ways that I surely can't mention. It would not be ladylike.
I know those passionate ways. You needn't mention them to me, but it was rude of him to mention them to you. I've never spoken to you of my love for him before. This is the first that's come from my lips in your direction. But I needed to explain somehow the mess I am. This behavior so unlike me. Burnt biscuits, tinned biscuits, for my oldest and dearest friend.
And not a tea bag in a cup.
Not a tea bag in a cup, just an empty cup of water. No, it's not an empty cup if there's water in it.
I think I figured it out. Dolores, we are grieving.
You are grieving. You're a grieving widow. You're supposed to. What am I doing? Something strange. I'm supposed to prop you up in this your hour.
But you can't prop me up because you envy me. Because you're not a grieving widow.
I'm not.
You're a woman that my husband loved, who he spoke about every night in bed as we went to sleep.
So rude.
His hands would touch me over and over as he spoke of you. And I was happy for it. Do you know why? Because if he didn't speak of you, he would never touch me. It was the thoughts of you, Dolores, that had my husband touch me. All over my body in the most vile, filthy, animalistic ways. Sometimes tearing off my nightie and pulling me closer to him. Like an animal or a tax collector. That's how he would take me at night, slowly entering me and saying, oh, Dolores, yes, serve me some tea, Dolores. Let's sit in the lounge. Let me take you in your lounge, Dolores. And he would make love to me like a beast, and I loved every minute of it. And he would have done none of this if it were not for you in his mind. And now he's dead, and I am a grieving widow, and you are not.
I have a mixture of news. There's tea, but as you know, it's 4 p.m. and there's only breakfast tea. It's not breakfast. It's 4 in the afternoon.
I realize the conundrum. But whether you know it or not, you are grieving and I am grieving, and we will drink breakfast tea in the afternoon, Dolores.
Like animals!
Like animals. Of course, like animals. Of course. Look at this terrible fortune. Look at this terrible fortune that has befallen both of us. We are doomed to live with each other. We are doomed to try to make sense of the senseless. Bob was a good man with a twinkle in his eye and a passion for antiques. And now he's dead.
He's gone.
When you walked in there and found his faceless corpse lying on the ground and came to tell me about it, who was the real victim? It was you, dear Dolores. I didn't have to see that. What unspeakable, unspeakable horror we have both lived through. pedestrian biscuit. Like one would be an animal. A tentacular. What has happened? Damn you, God! I loved him too. What a horrific sight that must have been for you. Who commits such a horrible, heinous murder?
For what cause? To what end?
Our current mental state, it wants to allow me for a moment empathy for the poor creature. The pain that creature must have been in who killed my husband. What a horrible, horrible life they must have led, with unspeakable misfortune that could drive them to commit such a heinous crime.
Does your empathy know no bounds?
I won't let my empathy die. You reminded me that I had it when we were sharing biscuits just then. We noticed that biscuits had fallen onto the ground. And we fell to our knees, and I spilled the breakfast tea on the ground. And then we started eating biscuits and putting them in each other's mouths, and our lips met, and then your hands were on me, just like Bob's hands were on me. And then I felt a moisture rise up between my legs, thinking, I need Dolores. I need to serve her some tea.
Well, what a mess.
What a mess indeed.
My oldest and dearest friend, what a mess.
Oh. Oh.
You stood yourself. I offered you a hand, and not a useless hand.
I'm too empathetic to accept your hand. I'm sorry he's gone.
I'm sorry he's gone.
I'm sorry he's gone.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm so
he's
sorry
gone.
he's
I'm
gone. I'm so sorry he's gone.
I'm so
sorry he's gone. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Dolores,
Marguerite.
your breath tastes like chili.
No, it doesn't. It tastes like soup that tastes like...
Who's ever heard of such a thing?
What could it mean? Soup that tastes like
Soup
chili. Is it still chili? Is there a point of viscosity at which a chili becomes a soup?
The soup. A chili, of course, would be more dense. Soup would be more thin. The spice would be easily discernible. One could easily figure out the flavorings of chili. There's some capsicum and some salt, and you've got it. There's nothing miraculous about it.
Paprika, my love.
Paprika.
Simple Hungarian paprika.
Oh.
Paprika.
Oh, I do.
No one expects it. They leave it on the shelf. No. They leave it on the shelf.
Yes.
No one ever puts paprika on anything but deviled eggs. Underrated paprika.
So underrated.
A nice spice. It's no saffron.
No, it's no
A lot of
saffron.
people would buy saffron.
Of course they would. It's so obvious.
Expensive and obvious.
Yes.
It's expensive and obvious.
Obvious.
Who wouldn't buy it?
Of course.
Perfectly good paprika.
Yes.
Sitting on the shelf, waiting, and then Saffron shows up with an engagement ring on her fat finger. I found some Melba toast.
Well, that sounds nice.
Some Melba toast. Nothing to put on it, just the toast itself. Just small toasts. Do they make a loaf? And then make it into tiny Melba toasts? Is there a tiny loaf? A Melba loaf?
Before there's toast?
Before there's Melba toast, is there Melba loaf?
What type of dark mind thinks up riddles like this, Dolores? What type?
I loved him and you stole him.
I did not, I can assure you.
Stole
He
him.
chanted your name.
You stole
He
him.
chanted your name.
I loved him and you stole him.
He-
And you knew I loved
He
him.
loved you. He loved you. But there was something about you that he couldn't tolerate. There was something about you that he just could not accept, and so he settled for me. He settled for me. He was grateful that you never spoke to him when you passed by the shop. He was grateful for you giving us the space for him to fantasize about you. He knew there was a darkness inside you, a darkness I could never see, a darkness I myself denied, but maybe I'm just getting glimpses of now. Dolores, is there a darkness inside you? Is there a darkness inside you that I don't know about? Is there something that's dark?
You've earned it. You've earned it.
I want the other half of that recipe.
Here you are. The other half of the recipe.
Here's Bob's face. And a Polaroid picture with lifelessness in his eyes. You've forgotten something. The recipe for the cornbread.
I haven't forgotten. Flip the card. It's just the recipe from the box. It's the recipe from the box. You fool.
It's a box recipe?
It's Jiffy.
What?
It's just Jiffy.
Paprika?
Just paprika.
That's the secret ingredient?
And Jiffy.
You had me murder 2 people and cut off their faces
2 people.
for something as pedestrian as this?
Two
What?
people. 2 people. people.
Yes.
2 people?
Bob
Yes.
and his wife.
What?
Yes.
What? No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes,
no.
I promise you.
No, what?
I was
No,
hiding in the closet the entire time,
no,
and Bob's wife
no,
came over to your house.
No.
She told an insane story about ringing the doorbell a number of times.
Listen, you gotta get in
I think
there.
it started off
All right.
with one time.
Think
She
about
rang it one
Nickelback.
time. How could you forget this? One time she rang,
Use
and then there was no
Nickelback
answer. And
for
then
winning.
2 times she rang the doorbell 2 times.
Just do it
but
for
no
me.
answer. And then many
I
times.
don't wanna live
and how
either.
did you keep listening to this? It's as if you've lost your mind.
Come on.
And then she went
Look
away.
at this
And then she came
photograph.
back.